the roundabout that wouldn't let me leave. This happened in Bucharest in the mid-2000s, and to this day, I can't explain it. It's my go-to glitch in the Matrix story, and it still gives me chills. It was a late Friday night, around 11 p.m. I was driving home when I got a call. Someone telling me my best friend was blackout drunk and causing chaos in a bar downtown. I drove to the old town center to pick him up. He was there with 3 equally wasted university friends, and a traffic police car was watching the mess unfold. One of the guys puked on the sidewalk while I struggled to get them into the car. Earlier that day, I had already gotten a ticket for a minor mistake in the Victory Eye roundabout during rush hour, and now I was seriously stressed. Right as I start the car, the cops stop me. They check for alcohol, my papers, the usual. One of them is clearly trying to find anything to find me for. The other eventually lets me go, saying something about not issuing 2 minor tickets within 24 hours, which I've never heard before or since. Anyway, I dropped the drunk squad off across town at the student complex. It's about 12:15 a.m. now. I'm heading home, tired, stressed, but thinking the night is over. Then I reach Piazza Victoriei, the heart of the city. A massive roundabout with huge 6-lane boulevards branching in every direction. I've driven through it hundreds of times. Each boulevard is distinct, and there are clear signs. No way to mess it up, but I enter the roundabout and take my usual exit. Only I'm suddenly on the wrong boulevard, a completely different part of the city. Confused, I turn back, re-enter the roundabout, and focus. I slow down, take my time, pick the correct exit again. Same result. Wrong boulevard. Again. I do it again. Same outcome. I start screaming. I'm furious. I'm tired. I think I'm losing it. I go slower, more focused. No distractions. I take the right exit with laser focus. Still end up on the same wrong road. This continues for 2 hours. Not once during this did I see a single car or person. Not one. In the center of a city with over 2 million people. In one of the busiest intersections. That's impossible. I was losing it. Almost crying with frustration. Screaming in the car. Begging to just get home. And then suddenly, I take the exit again. And it works. I'm on my street. 5 minutes later, I'm home. I look at the clock. 2:40 a.m. I sat there stunned. Still have no explanation. I've never experienced anything like it again. No drugs, no alcohol, no sleep deprivation that could explain it. Just a roundabout that refused to let me leave. The wrong floor. I'm 22 now, but what happened to me at 17 still haunts me. I wasn't drunk, dreaming, or out of it. I was fully conscious. And what I saw, I remember it more clearly than most things in my life. It happened at my aunt's old government apartment building. One of those identical concrete blocks with 5 or 6 floors, all looking the same. Her flat was on the 3rd floor. I went downstairs at one point to check out some newborn puppies near the ground level. All was normal. But when I started heading back up, everything went strange. I kept climbing the stairs, but I couldn't find her floor. There were no floor numbers, no gates, no familiar doors. Just the same concrete walls looping endlessly. I knew I had climbed way more than 3 floors, yet there was no sign of her apartment. And then suddenly, I hit the top. But it wasn't the top of the building. It was a school corridor. Not like an Indian school. This place looked like something out of an American high school movie. Brightly lit, lined with lockers, clean and modern. There were students inside, none of them Indian. They looked like they belonged there. It felt normal for them, not for me. I stood frozen on the staircase, trying to process it. One girl, a young black girl, noticed me. She smiled and waved, like I was supposed to be there. Like I belonged. I didn't wave back. I just stared. Then without saying a word, I turned and walked back down the stairs. The further I went, the more everything returned to normal. The familiar old concrete came back. The floor layout returned. I passed one more level, and I was suddenly back at my aunt's third floor. Shaken, I went back up to see it again. This time, it was just the regular fourth floor landing. Nothing else. No corridor, no lockers, no students. I asked my aunt if there was a school nearby, or if any section had been renovated recently. She had no idea what I was talking about. Thought I was daydreaming. But I know I wasn't. I've had dreams. I've hallucinated. This wasn't that. This was real. The lighting, the walls, that girl's smile. Every single detail burned into my memory. Was it a dimensional glitch? A time slip? A brush with some other reality? I've never spoken about this before. I didn't want people to think I'd lost it. But if this has happened to anyone else, please tell me. I'm not crazy. I'm just someone who climbed one flight of stairs too far. The silent knock. This happened just this past weekend. I was in the kitchen with my kids while my husband was outside working on his truck. I heard a knock at the garage door, the one that leads into the house. I glanced over and saw it was locked, so naturally I assumed it was my husband. I opened the door, and there he was, standing there, smiling, holding some tools. Nothing unusual. Until he just stood there. No words, no movement. Confused, I asked, "Are you coming in?" No response. A few seconds passed. I was in the middle of something, so I just shut the door and walked away, thinking he was playing some weird joke. About a minute later, he opens the door and walks in like nothing happened. I immediately asked, "What the hell was that? Why were you just standing there not saying anything?" He looked confused. He said he never knocked. He wasn't even near the door. He swore up and down that he hadn't been there, hadn't stood in the doorway smiling with tools in hand. He insisted I imagined the whole thing. I was upset. It felt real. Too real. Mirror jump. Hey everyone. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Something really weird happened this morning while I was getting ready for work, and I can't stop thinking about it. Just wondering if anyone else has experienced anything even remotely similar. So, I was going through my usual morning routine, coffee in hand, audiobook playing, about to start my makeup. I'd already washed and pricked my face and was feeling pretty normal. But then I looked in the mirror, and my heart stopped. The face staring back at me was mine, but decades older. I'm in my 30s, but the reflection looked like I was in my 60s. Hooded eyelids, wrinkles around my mouth and eyes, a droopy forehead. It was still me, just aged dramatically. I blinked. Nothing changed. I stared for at least 10 seconds, totally frozen. It wasn't a flash or a trick of the light. It held long enough for me to really study it. I knew what I was seeing. Then I looked away, took a breath, looked back, and just like that, it was gone. My normal 30-something face was back. Completely normal. No signs of what I'd just seen. What's even weirder is that minutes earlier, during my skincare routine, in the same mirror, everything looked fine. So it wasn't lighting, or fog, or sleepy eyes. This felt different, like I got a sneak peek, or a glitch, or a bleed from some other timeline where I'd already lived those extra 30 years. Someone beat me to being me. Can't shake this strange feeling that something glitched today. I went to pick up my daughter from school and drop her off at her father's place. On the way, I reminded myself I needed to stop by the bank afterward to withdraw rent money, but she asked if we could grab coffee first, and that somehow threw me off. After dropping her off, I totally forgot about the bank and just drove home. About 5 minutes after walking in the door, I remembered, crap, I need to go to the bank. So I grabbed my purse and keys and headed out. When I got to the bank, I filled out a withdrawal slip and walked up to the teller. She gave me a really confused look. As I handed her my slip and ID, she kind of recoiled, like I just shocked her. She glanced between me and my ID, then back again. I was starting to wonder if she thought I was using a fake or something. Then she said, "I'm so sorry, but weren't you just here for this transaction?" I laughed, said, "Nope, definitely not. I just got here." She processed everything, but the whole time, she looked like she thought I was messing with her. Like one of those TikToks where identical twins pull a prank on someone. Except I don't have a twin. The wild part? If I hadn't stopped for coffee and forgotten my plan, I would have gone to the bank at exactly that earlier time. So who, or what, did she see? It didn't stop there. Later at my bartending job, a woman asked if I lived in my city. I said yeah, and she goes, "I swear I saw you gardening earlier. I always see you in your garden." Except I wasn't gardening. I was nowhere near her neighborhood. I don't even know where she lives. What the hell is going on? Should I ask the bank to see the security footage, or will they just think I've lost it? My wedding ring is made out of silver now. Today, when taking off my wedding ring, I noticed the little engraving of .925 inside. Now this obviously means that the ring is sterling silver. The issue is, my wedding ring is iron, or at least it was until today. I've been married almost 2 years now, and I specifically remember wanting and comparing iron wedding rings when looking for one to buy. I originally wanted titanium, but that was out of budget, and not wanting a traditional precious metal, I choose iron. I also take my ring off daily to shower, and I often fidget it on and off idly throughout the day. I have never once noticed the .925 mark. I've noticed the scratches and dings, the uneven wear on the pattern, but never the .925 mark. I even checked the Etsy page I bought it from, and sure enough, it's a .925 sterling silver ring. My email receipt from the purchase shows that it's a .925 sterling silver ring. I know it's the same ring I've always had, and my wife doesn't seem to think it's changed. But I know my ring was iron, not silver. The PC that never existed. A few years ago, one of my closest online friends got a new PC. It was a big deal. She'd been using the same old laptop for years, always complaining about how slow it was. I remember the day she posted about the upgrade on Facebook. She was so excited. I even recall her writing something like, "Finally, no more lag." There was a photo of the tower on her new desk, some RGB glow, and a bunch of comments congratulating me. We were talking a lot during that time, so naturally she asked me to help her get things set up. I connected to her PC remotely, walked her through driver installs, helped optimize some stuff, and remember admiring how much better it was than her previous setup. I saw her specs myself. I even remember her laughing when we realized how bad her old laptop truly was in comparison. That's not a vague memory. It's burned in my mind like any normal tech support moment with a friend. Clear, specific, detailed. The specs were solid. Ryzen CPU, decent NVIDIA card, 16 GB RAM. Enough to run anything she wanted, no problem. That PC existed. Or at least I thought it did. We drifted over the years, life, schedules, the usual. A few days ago I reached out again, just on a whim. We caught up, ended up playing Minecraft like the old days. It was fun, like nothing had changed. That's when I asked her if she wanted to try VR chat with me and some friends. She responded, "I'd love to, but my laptop's ancient. It can barely run Minecraft." I blinked. "Wait, what? Didn't you get a new PC a while back?" She seemed confused. "No, I never did. I've had this laptop forever." I actually sat there silent. I thought she was joking, pulling some weird prank, but she was completely serious. There was no spark of recognition in her voice. No, "Oh yeah, that old PC," or "it broke." Nothing. It was like the whole thing just never happened. Later, I went looking for that old Facebook post, trying to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. But it was gone. No post, no photo, no excited comments, nothing. I did find one post from that time about her desk, which I now remember she got around the same time as the PC, but no mention of a computer. It's like I helped her set up a machine that never existed. And to be clear, I'm not confusing her with anyone else. She was my only real online friend back then. We were on voice call during the setup. I watched her screen. I helped her install drivers. I remember exactly what the desktop wallpaper looked like. I remember the satisfaction in her voice when things finally ran smoothly. It happened. But now, apparently, it didn't. She doesn't remember it. There's no trace online. And somehow, I'm the only one who still holds that memory. Was it a time glitch? A memory slip between parallel versions of reality? A Mandela effect just for me? All I know is this. I helped someone set up a PC that doesn't exist anymore. And I can't explain why that chills me more than any ghost story ever could. The night my dad vanished. Halloween night, 1996. I was dressed as the Grim Reaper, black robe, full skeletal makeup. Before heading upstairs to finish getting ready, I told my dad, "I'll be down in 20 minutes." Now, you have to understand something about my dad. He was obsessive about keeping the doors shut at night. We lived in Louisiana, and if you so much as cracked the door, he'd be yelling about bugs getting in. He never, ever left the door open. So when I came back down the stairs 20 minutes later and saw the front door wide open into the night, my stomach dropped. It was pitch black outside, and Halloween in New Orleans always had a certain weight to the air. Festive, yes, but also eerie. Still, this wasn't about ghosts or trick-or-treaters. This was wrong. I called for my dad. No answer. I stepped outside, looked down the porch. Nothing. No footsteps, no car gone, no sound. Just silence. Back inside, the TV was still on, and his cigarette, the one he was smoking when I went upstairs, was burned all the way down in the ashtray beside his recliner. That may not sound like much, but my dad never walked away from a cigarette. He nursed them like they were made of gold. It was still faintly smoking, like he just vanished mid-drag. I sat there in my Grim Reaper costume, robe trailing across the carpet, makeup still fresh, staring at that cigarette and the empty chair, waiting. I waited for 30 minutes, assuming he must have stepped outside for something, but he never came back. Eventually, I locked the door, got in my car, and drove off to meet my friends. The next morning, over coffee, I asked him, "Where did you go last night? You left the front door wide open." He looked offended, even angry, as if I would leave the front door open. "I was here waiting for you to show me your costume, but you just disappeared." We stared at each other in complete confusion. Each of us swore we had been in the house the whole time, expecting to see the other. No one heard a thing. No one saw a thing. Just absence. We've never made sense of it. But I'll never forget sitting in that dark living room, watching his cigarette burn out, wondering where he'd gone. And now I wonder, did he vanish? Or did I? The phantom pasta. Today, I ate something that shouldn't exist, and I can't stop thinking about it. Money's tight right now, so I've been scraping together meals with whatever I've got. I knew I had ground beef in the fridge, so I figured I'd make some taco pasta. I got the meat going, reached into the cupboard for pasta, and pulled out a pack I have never seen in my life. It was Burkel macaroni, labeled entirely in German, no English anywhere. I live in Canada. I've never bought this, never seen it in a store, and I order all my groceries online. I check my order history, nothing. Search the store's database, no such product exists. I live alone, no one else has access to my place. I literally rearranged that cupboard a few months ago. This wasn't there. I was in that exact spot yesterday. No pasta. So where the hell did it come from? I started searching online. Burkel is a legit German brand, but it's only available on obscure German websites. You can't buy it in Canada. And yet, here it was, in my hand, like it belonged here. A quiet stowaway from a reality where grocery shelves look slightly different. And yeah, I cooked it. Glitch or not, I was hungry. It tasted fine. But I couldn't help but feel like I had just accepted a gift from a reality I didn't belong to. Like I ate something not meant for this version of me. Maybe I accidentally manifested noodles. Maybe timelines crossed. Maybe some interdimensional version of me visited Berlin and brought home pasta as a souvenir.